Okay, below you'll find a link to part 1 of this series. Best to go back and watch that session first if you haven't seen it already. Today, let's start with 2 more examples of how I personally, instantly, and permanently adjusted my own thinking process. First, 30 years ago, I read an article in a personal finance magazine in which the author said, and I quote, "If someone is in the habit of bouncing checks, they will live the rest of their life bouncing checks. The proclivity to write a bad check is a character issue, and character can't be changed." End quote. Up to then, I was a check bouncer extraordinaire, until I woke up that very day. My check bouncing stopped forever in that moment. Second example, in a 9-month period back in 2012, I went through simultaneous personal challenges, which included the death of my 2 parents and a divorce. My world was frenetic and emotional, and one of the many personal errors of omission in that time was that I stopped reading. I knew for sure that the act of reading hard copy books, no matter the subject, was calming and helped lengthen my attention span. But in that particular time frame, I lost my focus and just stopped. But then, one day, just like that, I woke up from that stupor and sat down to read again, a couple of hours every day, no matter what. I carry on that habit to this day. It's therapy for me. I'm betting you can add your own examples of times when you've instantly and permanently turned your own bad thinking protocol around. Remembering these occurrences is important, so you know for sure that a sudden permanent change in thinking is possible, that your brain is naturally wired for that you've already done it. So, considering the amazing human ability to adapt, let's go back to the modern day distraction problem. In these chaotic times, our brains have adjusted themselves in order to manage the insistent distraction of not just our electronic tools, but also the people around us, who are equally inundated with external input and who therefore also endure equally scrambled thinking. It's not just you, it's everyone you interact with. 99% of the people around you, including your business competitors, don't consciously realize that a multitasking mind is an inefficient mind when it comes to achieving long-term goals. Again, your brain has adapted beautifully to the steamroller input. You may be a multitasking marvel, but it's at the cost of being unable to hard focus. And hard focus you must if you are to get what you want in your life. The good news? The cure is simple and fast. Is there a more in-depth source about how to adjust your thinking protocol? Or maybe better said, to rewire your neural pathways? For sure. Read the 2010 book, The Shallows, by Nicholas Carr. Here's an excerpt from a Wired magazine review. Quote, "Carr makes the point that long hours spent on the internet will transform our brains into flighty mechanisms that have lost the ability to deep think." He says, "The current explosion of digital technology not only is changing the way we live and communicate, but is rapidly and profoundly altering our brains." He goes on to say that when we go online, we enter an environment that promotes cursory reading, hurried and distracted thinking, and superficial learning. Even as the internet grants us easy access to vast amounts of information, it is turning us into shallower thinkers, literally changing the structure of our brains. That review was way back in 2010. Does anyone think that the population's general shallowness has improved since then? Of course it hasn't. It's far worse now, 13 years later. To summarize, Disrupting concentration weakens comprehension, and it stifles hard focus. And it's my contention that hard focus is mandatory if one is to reach long-term goals. We'll conclude this series next week, drilling down into the specifics of how to quickly relearn the ability to deep think, to be able to act on your environment, not react to it,